The world as we know it changed at 3 a.m. on May 9, 2026. The silence of the dawn was shattered not by the call to prayer, but by the thunderous roar of ballistic missiles rising from the silos of western Iran. This is the moment the Middle East crossed the point of no return. Within hours of the official announcement that the nation had chosen its third supreme leader, the regional powder keg finally exploded. This is no longer a shadow war of proxies and covert operations. This is a direct, high-intensity confrontation between the Islamic Republic, Israel, and the United States. For decades, the name Mojtaba Khamenei was whispered in the corridors of power in Tehran. Today, that name is at the center of a global crisis. At 56 years old, the son of the late Ali Khamenei has stepped out of the shadows and into the most powerful position in the country. His ascension was not marked by a peaceful transition or a period of national mourning. Instead, he was inaugurated amidst the smoke of burning air bases and the sirens of incoming air raids. The message from the Iranian Council of Experts was clear. They did not hesitate for a single minute. Despite what they called the brutal aggression of the United States and Israel, the regime has signaled that it will not only survive, but will double down on its revolutionary ideals. The immediate response from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps was an operation dubbed True Promise 4. This was a massive, multi-directional strike involving a new generation of Khyber missiles equipped with heavy warheads. These weapons were not aimed at empty deserts. They were targeted directly at the heart of Tel Aviv and the critical U.S. air bases scattered across the Persian Gulf. Reports indicate that the Al Udeid base in Qatar and major facilities in the United Arab Emirates were targeted repeatedly. This is a level of escalation that the region has not seen in modern history. The Iranian parliament has already declared that they are not seeking a ceasefire. Their stance is absolute. If any nation allows its territory to be used for an attack against Iran, they will face decisive retaliation. However, the transition of power has been anything but smooth. In Tel Aviv, the Israeli military has invoked what they call the long arm of the state. In a move that defies all norms of modern diplomacy, the Israeli government has openly declared a policy of pursuit against the new supreme leader himself. They have vowed to track down Mojtaba Khamenei and anyone who played a role in his selection. This is an unprecedented threat against a sitting head of state. On the very morning of his inauguration, Israeli jets launched a devastating wave of strikes against the Aerospace Force headquarters of the Revolutionary Guard. This facility is the nerve center of Iran's strategic missile program. Shockwaves were sent through the international intelligence community when reports surfaced that Mojtaba Khamenei may have been injured during these initial strikes. While Tehran has neither confirmed nor denied these rumors, the internal pressure is mounting. Analysts like David Petraeus, the former director of the CIA, suggest that Mojtaba faces a massive challenge of legitimacy. He has not yet reached the rank of Ayatollah, a religious requirement that many loyalists consider essential for the role of supreme leader. This creates a dangerous vacuum of authority that could be filled by the most radical elements of the military. In Washington, the atmosphere is one of tense anticipation. President Donald Trump, who only days ago warned that a new leader would not last long without American approval, has adopted a surprisingly quiet posture. His brief statement, "We will see what happens," suggests a strategy of maximum pressure 2.0. The Trump administration appears to be betting on the internal collapse of the Iranian regime under the weight of military strikes and economic isolation. But this gamble comes with a massive global cost. The economic fallout of this conflict is already being felt at every gas station and in every grocery store across the globe. Oil prices have surged past the $100 per barrel mark, a figure not seen in years. This is a direct result of the threat to the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most important energy choke point. Iran has warned that if its own energy infrastructure is targeted, it will not hesitate to strike the oil fields of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. This would effectively paralyze the global economy. President Trump has argued that higher oil prices are a small price to pay for long-term security, but for the rest of the world, the cost is becoming unbearable. In Europe, diplomacy is hanging by a thread. French President Emmanuel Macron stands as a lone voice, attempting to maintain a line of communication with Tehran. He has called for an immediate end to the regional attacks and has demanded guarantees for the freedom of navigation. Yet, his pleas seem to fall on deaf ears as both sides dig in for a protracted conflict. The Iranian Foreign Ministry has rejected all foreign interference, demanding that the United States apologize for its role in instigating the war. As we look toward the next 24 hours, the situation remains incredibly volatile. Iran has called for mass rallies across the country at 3 p.m. local time. This is intended to be a national oath of loyalty to the new leader. It will be the first major test of public support and internal stability. If the crowds are thin, it could signal a weakening of the regime's grip. If they are massive, it will embolden the hardliners to push even further. The Revolutionary Guard has already stated that they are prepared for a full-scale, high-intensity war that could last at least 6 months. They have dismissed claims from Western officials that their missile stockpiles are running low. Instead, they have increased the frequency of drone attacks and are now using double the amount of strategic missiles. The world is witnessing a transformation of the Middle East conflict from a series of localized skirmishes into a total war. For countries far from the front lines, the impact is still profound. Thousands of foreign workers, including many from Southeast Asia, are trapped in the crossfire in Israel and the Gulf states. Governments are scrambling to organize evacuation plans as the airspace over the region becomes a combat zone. The ripple effects on transportation, shipping, and global supply chains will be felt for months, if not years. To summarize the gravity of the current moment, 3 things are clear. First, Iran has entered a new era under Mojtaba Khamenei, a leader with deep ties to the military and a hardline ideological stance. Second, the military escalation has bypassed all previous red lines, with direct attacks on major cities and strategic bases. Third, the lack of a diplomatic off-ramp, combined with the hardline stances of the U.S. and Israel, means that the conflict is likely to get much worse before it gets better. The shadow of war has reached its darkest point. The decisions made in the next few hours in Tehran, Tel Aviv, and Washington will determine the fate of the global economy and the lives of millions. We are no longer waiting for a crisis. The crisis is here. It is evolving by the minute, and the window for peace is closing fast. Stay tuned as we continue to monitor this historic and dangerous shift in the world order.